Well, I'm sitting here with Charles. We did this a little bit over a year and a half ago, and we had a short podcast.
Yeah.
And here we are today. You guys have recently moved into your new offices here in Jacksonville, Florida, at Petticoat-Schmitt HQ. That's what's right here behind us.
Yes, sir.
And tell me a little bit about this mean thing that's coming up in my face here, right over here.
The big beautiful Ford.
Yeah, the big
Vanessa.
Ford. It has a name. I love it.
Cut that. Yeah, that's my baby.
Yeah,
hard earned and definitely one of my favorite trucks they've ever made. So
you were telling me before we sat down that you once, this is an F-250.
Yeah.
And you once had gone down to an F-150. And before you get into this, let me just clarify this for you. If you think, oh wow, he's a real man, he's driving an F-250, it's a King Ranch. So when you get inside, it's just like a warm cocoon of love. So yeah, my grandfather would say that it makes you soft, but I have no room to talk. Everybody that knows me knows what I drive, and they're like, yeah,
the Platinum.
shut up. But yeah, well, you were saying that you had gone back from an F-250 to a 150, and you didn't like that. Why not?
Honestly, the 250, it's a little bit more of a rigid drive. Feels like a truck. Growing up in Colorado, my dad had Fords, and just the way they drove back in the day, they're not some soft, smooth Cadillac ride.
Yeah.
They are now these days, and that's great. But
Yeah.
personal preference, it feels like a truck. It drives like a truck. You sit up high, and honestly, it's pretty mean looking.
Yeah.
So
You can say badass on the podcast.
Yeah, it's badass.
It's
I love
okay.
it.
It's okay. It does. Well, and so this is an interesting thing, and I think it segues into Petticoat. And what do you guys say? Do you say Petticoat-Schmitt, or do you say Petticoat?
Both Petticoat-Schmitt.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And so I think that your truck actually, being front and center here has a little bit of a point there. It's not a company truck.
No.
So you started to allude to this, but it's got company brand right on the front of it there. Pretty up front and in your face.
Yes, sir.
Why is that on your personal truck?
Because I love this company. I love everything it believes, that it stands for. I believe in everything that it stands for, and I align with its core values. And it's an honor. It's a badge of honor for me to be able to put the name of Petticoat-Schmitt on the front of my truck.
You were saying earlier that those values align with your values.
Yes, sir.
For those who maybe haven't heard us talk before, tell us what those values are.
So accountability, character, and team. ACT.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So those are the names of those values. Let's just go through them here. What do they mean? So accountability. What does that mean?
Accountability. I mean, there's a multitude of synonyms that are out there. I think for me, ownership, extreme ownership, right?
Yeah.
So being a solution provider, right? Not just saying that, hey, I own it. It's me. It's my responsibility. Yes, but coming up with solutions, right? And I think that's one of the points of extreme ownership that hones well with me is being the key to the solution.
Yeah.
Character, right? Doing the right thing, right? High morals, morals that align with being a believer in Christ and a faith follower. So the great alignment there, right? So no jerks allowed.
You're the second person today to tie it in with that. That's awesome.
Yes, sir. So
that's awesome.
Definitely great alignment. And then team, right? So everybody's is important here at Petticoat-Schmitt, right? So we are a people-first company. We are an employee-owned company. And that speaks volume to the leadership, the owner of this company, to trust in us and be stewards of what he created and what he built, and to bring that into the new era. It's awesome.
Yeah. So that was accountability. Did you go through all of them, or did you
not
okay.
quite. A little bit of team touch there.
Yeah.
But team, right? So for me personally, being a team player, helping others, mentoring others, being there for people. So guidance and a few things, but for me, really just being there for people when you need them, right?
Yeah.
People are important. I think that's something that we need to remember on a daily basis, right?
I think that's interesting because I think I was just doing a podcast with another rather, and it doesn't matter if you're a big company or you're a small company, but when you're in a large organization and they've been able to maintain those beginning values, that's impressive.
Yeah.
And the thing that struck me was the importance of the people.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some people that are listening that are gonna be like, yeah, whatever, man. It's like it's all about the money. And honestly, if that's your mindset and what you think, then to you it probably always will be.
Yeah.
But if you can change your mindset, and I was in a conversation with a guy the other day, and we were talking the company that he was in, and I was kind of helping with some things, doing some consulting with them, and I was in this conversation with him, and he said, well, I really came to a point in my career where I recognized that it wasn't about me, it was about the guy next to me. And he said it totally changed my perspective and my process when I started to focus on that other guy, and it was like helping him learn, helping him grow. And he goes, then opportunities started to come. Mm-hmm. He goes, my entire personality began to change. And he goes, and then I started to see the opportunities that were always there that I didn't see before, mm-hmm. because of the way, my perspective and the way that I looked at things.
Yeah. Yeah, well said.
And I think that's something that I think we don't realize. Like, I say this all the time. Words matter. When you speak things out, you're speaking it into existence. And it's like, if you're speaking over someone that they're dumb, like, so I get in this in construction, in the trades, we do this where it's like, we rib one another.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's this balance where sometimes we're ribbing people and we might be a little frustrated about something, and it comes out in sarcasm or something like that. And when we speak those things out, I really became aware of what was happening when I was thinking I was being sarcastic and joking around, and I was actually speaking something over someone. When I was like, if you're referring, and I didn't say this, but like, for lack of a better example, and I don't want them to know who I'm talking about if they're listening, but if I'm like, you're dumb.
Yeah.
That is power.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I think that matters, what you say and how you say it.
Yeah. Tact, tone, and delivery, right? It's not just the words that you say, but the tact that you use, the tone with which you speak, and the delivery that's presented, right?
So this is why I flew to Florida to speak with you, because you're a wordsmith with how you tact, tone, and delivery. I love that. I think that, so before we go into why I think that is here at Petticoat, what was your last value? We haven't talked about that one yet.
Team.
So it was
accountability, character, and team.
Character and team. So team was the last one.
Yeah.
So that ties in with where I wanted to go.
Yeah.
So this is your new offices.
Yes, sir.
You've moved in here.
Yep.
And like, we came in, there's some chairs inside with plastic wrap still on them. So you're still kind of moving in, which is kind of
fresh.
It's very fresh.
Fresh.
But there was something really fascinating that I saw. It's a rather large facility.
Oh, it's huge.
Yeah. It's big. And we're walking through the facility, and you're like, yeah, there's a training room. There's a training room. There's a training room. There's this. Oh, there's a group. One of the largest rooms that you showed me was full of people being onboarded and being trained.
Yeah.
And it's like, you guys really believe investing in the people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very, very important.
Talk to me about that. Talk to me about what that looks like here.
Yeah. So we firmly believe in people first, right? But what does that really mean? How can people be first in the organization that you have, and the culture that you're creating, without investing in them, right? So investment without action is futile, right? So we make it a point here that we want to invest professionally and personally. And I kind of touched on this, when we last met, was, it's incredible to be able to professionally develop people, mentor them, train them, give them the tools and the resources that they need to be successful professionally. But the development, right? The culture here is just not professional only. It's personal. Yeah. What are you taking home, right? What are the skills and the things that you're learning at work and in your professional life going to look like in your family life, right?
Yeah.
And having that blend of work-life balance, right? That's key. That's important. But if you can learn things at work and develop skills that help you be a better husband, a better wife, a better father, man, that is a win. That's incredible. So training, development, investing in the people here at Petticoat-Schmitt for the future, right? It's not just the generation that is here now, but it's about investing in the next generation of people. And man, we love it. I love it. And I could talk about it all day.
Well, that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things, it's pretty obvious not only that you love it, but that this is, I've been involved with and seen from the inside different employee-owned organizations,
Yeah.
and this is different.
Yes, it is.
It's different. Like when I'm going through the building, even talking with the girl at the front desk, it's like there is this sense of you guys are working towards some common goal
Yep.
together, and that's really what we want to be about.
Yeah.
I mean, I love that.
Yeah.
So talk with me a little bit about. So in case we haven't said it, here we are. We're in Jacksonville, Florida. It's super cold today if you're watching us on camera, and we're having this real and honest conversation. You guys, Petticoat-Schmitt is a heavy civil contractor.
Yes, sir.
What would you guys call yourselves? Is that what you would call yourself?
Heavy civil contractor. Yep.
Okay. So you're a heavy civil contractor. Give us just a little bit of context. What type of projects are you doing?
Yeah, so we've got 3 different groups within the company that does work and puts work in place. We've got the water resource group, which is water plants, wastewater plants, pump stations, lift stations, so treatment. We've got public works, so we'd work for a public entity here in Jacksonville like JEA or Clay County Utility Authority, doing public line work, roadway improvements, things of that nature, and then site development, so commercial, industrial, private, public alike, so going in and clearing residential land and building the infrastructure for the new properties.
Yeah. So one of the things that I find interesting when I walked inside here in 2022, you guys celebrated 15 years in business.
Yes, sir.
So I'm not going to do math on camera here, but you're celebrating your
18th year.
18th year. I can do basic math, but when the sun is glaring down, I'm not going to go there. But so you're celebrating 18 years, and we're in the South.
Yep.
You're kind of young.
Yeah, young for a lot of the big boys that are here in town.
Yeah. So you're kind of surrounded by the way we've always done it.
Yeah.
Why does that make Petticoat-Schmitt different for your clients? What is that? So some people would see, there's a famous line. I don't know if you've ever seen this video, but you should YouTube it. Ronald Reagan is doing a debate, and he was the young guy. And, the person that he was debating and running against for president, I remember this line where he said, I'm not going to use because the whole party line was that Ronald Reagan is too young and inexperienced to know what he's doing. Yeah. And he leads off and he goes, I'm not going to use my opponent's age, against them as a negative. I'm not going to do that. And he flipped it, and he's being very cheeky about it. But what do you think that is the edge that gives to people who are wanting to pick you guys to work with? How does that make you different? And how is that a positive for Petticoat-Schmitt?
Sorry about that. Age is just a number, right? Age doesn't dictate how good you are and doing what you're doing. You can be a young professional in the industry and be good, if not better, than somebody twice your age. And I think that is Petticoat-Schmitt, right? So we might be young, 18 years young, but 18 years strong. We utilize technology to our advantage. A people-first company. We do things differently, right? We are building life-changing infrastructure with the people that we develop and train and mentor, and the infrastructure that we put in place, right, for the communities and residential areas and in and around Jacksonville, and not just Jacksonville, but Tallahassee and further south. So we have an edge that's different, right? We look at things differently. We've got processes in place. We use technology to our advantage. What is going to make us better? There's nothing that's a sacred cow. There's nothing that's off the table for us to look at and evaluate and see if it's going to benefit us and help us do our job better and reach more people.
How do you think, I love the term sacred cow.
Yeah.
How do you think that, you guys are building for the future and you're building to be here for the next 100 years?
Yes.
So how do you prevent yourself from, I actually think the longer that you're in business and the more that you grow, the more challenging it gets. I don't think that. I know that. Yeah. How do you keep from getting sacred cows in your business?
I think healthy conflict, right? So trust being the foundation of relationships. So for the leadership that we have here in the company is having a foundation of trust to be able to have the confidence with one another to do the right thing and have healthy conflict and bring things up, but also the open-mindedness. So with the trust that's established and the relationship, right, we can have an understanding with one another of what we need to do for the future. And open-mindedness is key, right? Otherwise, closed-mindedness, closed doors, closed relationships, you won't be successful. And I think here we do a really, really good job at being open-minded for what's a good opportunity, talking about the potential negative opportunities, right? So a good thing that I heard a long time ago, right, when I came here to Petticoat was somebody's got to play the 10th man. And I can't remember who I heard that from, but it always struck me, and I've always tried to do that. But in essence, what that means is if there's 10 people in a room and 9 people agree on something, that 10th person should be the person that contradicts, right? To spark discussion, to spark engagement with the team. And we have healthy conflict here at Petticoat-Schmitt, right? We want to talk about things, right? Everything isn't easy street, right? So what can we discuss as a team to prevent those sacred cows, right? I've never heard from leadership or anybody that there's one thing that's not changeable, right? Adapting for the future, right? Adapting with culture and adapting with style of what have you, right? Construction is not an unchanging.
Well, that's the truth.
Yeah, it's constantly changing, right? So we have to change with it. We have to get with the times. And so for us, what can we do to continue to do that?
I really appreciate that, because I think that you talk about healthy conflict, and I love that, because you have conflict, and then you have healthy conflict, and then you only have one other option, and that is unhealthy conflict. Matter of fact, it's not 3 different options. It's either healthy or it's not. That's it. And I think that that's one of those things that's important. Like I asked you, well, how do you prevent sacred cows? Because that's one of the biggest things that I see in older businesses, that after a certain, I was in a meeting the other day, and I heard a guy say, well, that's the way we've always done it.
Yes, and that's just
that
the
is
wrong
like
way of
the
looking
flag
at it.
on the field where it's like, okay, there's a deeper problem here. Because that means you're not looking for new ways to do things. Or how to do this differently. And if the world is changing around you, which we know it is, I remember when I started, I would fax my quote sheets. And I don't know anybody listening to this that might still have a fax machine. So I still have a fax number, but it goes to my email.
Straight to email.
So I really wonder who's out there faxing stuff, but don't tell me that you have a fax machine. That would make me feel
I'm gonna plead the fifth on that.
Yeah. So I love that you're talking about healthy conflict. One of the I love reading, and a guy that I read, his name is Patrick Lencioni, written a plethora of books, all very good. And he talks about, I think it might be in the book where it's called The Ideal Team Player. And he always writes these books that it's like a fable. It's like a story. It probably isn't, but he calls them that because it's probably related to companies that he's been in their offices. And so, but he in The Ideal Team Player, he talks about going into a conference room, and they might be in that conference room and they're throwing binders and it's intense, but when they leave, and for me, this is what healthy conflict looks like, because conflict is never going to be comfortable. But what he says, they're in that conference room and they're fighting for what they believe in that conference room passionately. But when they leave and the door closes behind them, they are a team. They are together. It's not like, I'm not going over to John's office and bickering with him about, do you realize Charles is saying that? No, if I have something to say, I'm saying it in that meeting. And then if leadership decides, well, this is the direction we're going, listen, I'm wearing the Petticoat-Schmitt brand, and I'm going where they're going. And it's like, and that's what I believe healthy conflict is, and it's so important for businesses to be about that and to have that and to go after that. And I think we get to this place where, what do the Marines say? Comfort is a slow death. And it's like we get to this place where we are comfortable. And we don't want to mess that up.
Comfort's the enemy, right? Conflict is very uncomfortable, right?
Man.
So it doesn't matter which way you look at it. You're either going to be uncomfortably lost, right? You in a lose-lose situation with a bad conflict, or in healthy conflict, right? it might be uncomfortable, but it's good, right?
Yeah.
There's resolutions, there's solutions, and you guys are working towards a common goal at the end of it, right?
Yeah.
And come together, and that's phenomenal, right? If you were to leave a room or leave a meeting, healthy conflict occurs, but the same problem persists outside the doors, and you're fighting each other, right? That's not healthy conflict. Healthy conflict is walking away together as a team, right? We're moving in one direction as a team with one purpose, one vision, and we're doing it together with that foundation of trust.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I think that's something that really gives you guys an edge, and not that you're the only contractor out there, but it really gives you an edge in how to move forward quickly.
Yes.
And to grow. What would you say to a new hire, someone new to your company, new to the trade? I don't want to say a young man, but that's where I come from, and I relate to, and I can remember being a young man because there are a lot of really cool ladies that work in the trades.
Yeah,
and I don't mean behind a desk, and there are a lot that work behind the desks, but I've seen some pretty sharp operators out there in the field that know what they're doing.
Yep.
And so I don't want to leave ladies out of it, but I'm just saying from my perspective as a young man when I came into the industry, I wish someone would have explained to me how to utilize healthy conflict on the job, like in the field. What would you say to, you have someone that's young and new, they are listening to this podcast, they're hearing you talk about healthy conflict at Petticoat-Schmitt, and they're having an issue or something that they're struggling with, they're trying to deal with. What is Charles telling them to do? What's the process? What's it look like?
Yeah, well, first and foremost, I think we're all human beings, right? We're built of emotion, and I think if I could give advice to anybody, something I'm learning to this day, and when I first learned it, it just, oh my gosh, no kidding. I wish somebody said this a long time ago, but the advice I would give is to leave your ego at the door, right? Check your ego.
Yeah.
All right, leave it at the door, leave the emotions at the door. Walk in with an open mind, right? Emotion is going to cause closed-mindedness, and no solutions are going to come about. You're not going to be able to resolve any conflicts with a closed mindset with the emotions running high.
Yeah.
So come into any situation with an open mind, with your ego at the door, and take it in.
Yeah.
Right? Take it in and allow yourself to understand what's going on. It'll give you clarity. And it'll give you purpose, right? It definitely will. For me, it was a game changer, right? Understanding that I cannot make good decisions in an emotional state of mind, but I can make good decisions with a clear head and open mind with my ego checked.
Yeah. How do you identify ego? Because I read a book once by a guy by the name Ryan Holiday called "Ego is the Enemy." And it was huge for me and very, very helpful for me. But I'm curious, how does Charles identify ego? Because I think it's something that sometimes we don't know we have it.
Yeah, it's hard to know when you have it and don't have it. But for me, am I being selfish? Is the action or decision I'm about to make being based on a selfish perspective, or am I being selfless? Right? If I'm selfish in that thought or that mindset, whoa. All right, let's take two steps back and think about this a little bit differently, right? It's not about me, right? People first, mission first, right? It's about the team, right? And the Petticoat team is first for me. And if my emotion is in the way, and certainly my ego is going to be in the way, and I need to give myself a little perspective and clarity and back up. So if I'm being selfish in any aspect, that's usually a really good indicator that I need to rethink, readjust, take a step back, and get some clarity.
Honestly, Charles, I don't mean to be surprised by this, but that's really insightful.
Yes.
And it's actually very simple. If you're being selfish, then your ego is there.
Yes,
your ego is absolutely there. And that's something, ego is the enemy, not just at work, but at home, in life.
Just talking on your shoulder all day long.
I can't tell you how many times in my relationship with my wife, this year I've been married 21 years, and she is awesome. But I can't tell you how many times in my relationship with her where I was able to identify that my ego was in the room with us because I wasn't being selfless. And I think when we can grab on to being selfless, then when we're doing that, there is a win then all the way around when we can get
Yeah.
outside of ourselves and see that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it just makes, I don't think this, it makes life better all the way around.
Amen. Yeah,
I
very
mean-
well said. Yeah, learning that skill, right? That's something that Petticoat has taught me. Coming here, I definitely did not have the same perspective, the same mindset, the same traits, and I've developed immeasurably so since I've gotten here, more than I ever could have imagined. And learning that about myself has made me a better husband and a better father, a better friend. I'm human. I make mistakes, but I can certainly testify to the fact that it has improved my marriage. Right? It's been a very valuable piece of information to retain.
Yeah. Well, I think that it's interesting, when we're at work, whatever relationships we have outside of work are affected by work.
Yes.
And when you're part of an organization where they want to develop and build into you and grow you, then that makes your whole life better. And it's honestly not all that noble.
Yeah.
I mean, I say that from my own perspective. When I want to do that in our organization, the reason is because it makes us more profitable.
Yep.
And please don't misunderstand. I'm glad for the noble aspect of it, but a business has a funny way of making things really practical and really real.
Yeah.
And it's like, you need to make money
Yep.
in order to be able to do these things. But I find it very interesting how if you do the right thing at the right time in the right way, the payoff is always there.
Yes.
It is always there. And it's like, we need to be careful about our expectations. I tend to struggle with, and I wish that someone, if I could go back in time to meet the younger Josh and say this to him, this is what I would say. Stop formulating your expectations before you get there. Because I cannot tell you how many times it's like, well, I'm going to do this, this, and this, and then this is going to happen for me at work.
Mm-hmm.
Or I'm going to do this, this, and this, and then this is going to happen. And it's like, I'll give you a really good example, which involves humiliating me a little bit. But I remember I'd been married a few years. My wife's not going to like that I keep bringing her into the podcast, but a lot of my failures are at work and at home and pretty much in every aspect of life. So, yeah. But we were married a few years, and I bought her a gift for our anniversary.
Yeah.
And I was really excited about it. I thought it was great. I was really proud of myself. You can see where this is going. And so
I think a lot of men have made this decision.
I got this gift for her, and I started to think about, well, what's this going to look like? I'm going to give this to her. She's going to be all happy. She's going to be excited. This is going to be her reaction. And this ties into pretty much everything that we're talking about. Why do I always have to talk about my crap? So I give her the gift, and I've been building this up for weeks, this expectation.
Yeah.
And she did not respond the way that I expected, which immediately offended me.
Yeah, it hurt your feelings.
Oh, it hurt my feelings.
Let you down in a big way.
Now let's think about this. What you just said there. It let me down in a big way. I'm the one that was writing those expectations.
Mm-hmm.
It's a gift for her. And this comes back to what you said about, thinking outside of yourself, being selfless, not being selfish. I thought it was a really cool gift. I liked the gift. But I actually didn't listen to my wife coming up to that time.
Yeah.
Like, I had been talking with her and feeling her out and not hearing the things that she was saying.
Yeah.
And recently, and so you can imagine what happened. It was not a fun conversation. But then I had to have this epiphany moment. And thank God that my wife is who she is, because she's really patient with me. Where I would, if we were both the same, like we would go right into a fight, where I'll have a fight sometimes all by myself and she happens to be in the room. And she just waits. And then she has the ability to say something to me. And I'm telling you, man, it's like it pulls me outside of my body, and I have this outward perspective, and I see myself doing something, and it's like, oh my word, I can't believe that's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And it reveals that to me, and then I want to change it.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I realized, well, I need to be listening, and it really doesn't matter if I think it's a cool gift. I shouldn't be building up these expectations. I should be like, what is going to really bless her?
Yes.
What is going to make her feel like, and I'm sharing this with in my marriage because that is like my most intimate and real relationship that I want to be successful more than anything else. But we should want that for all relationships.
Yes.
We should want that at work. We should want that everywhere. And it's like, so when I'm working with Joe over here, and it's like, and I'm trying to say I'm the boss,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, well, I want to give Joe a new truck. He has a good company truck, but I want to give him a new truck. And I'm expecting Joe's going to be like, wow, this is amazing. This is awesome. But what Joe wants is, Joe's been working ridiculously long hours, and Joe would probably do better at having a 4-day week because he's a single dad, and he can't go see his kids as much on the weekend. And it's like, for me as a business owner, it would not be a big deal for me to be like, you know what, Joe? We're gonna give you a salary increase, and this is how we're gonna do it.
Yeah.
You don't work Fridays.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like getting us outside of our perspective and looking at, well, what affects people where they are, and recognizing that people are different.
Mm-hmm. And that stems, right? That's incredible to think about. But what I look at from that, and my takeaway is awareness, right?
There it is.
How can you put the people first and not set expectations on them is by being aware, being aware of what they want, right? And sometimes that would just come in the simple form and fashion of having a conversation with Joe. So how can you be aware of what he needs and what he wants? And that's by being selfish and speaking with him and understanding what is he looking for? What is his desire and expectation and wishful outcome? And it's really easy as a human, right, to think, oh, this is what I'm going to get them, and they're going to love it, and you're setting yourself up for a failure, right?
Yeah.
I've done that in so many circumstances and in a lot of cases, and it's never been fun. It's never been comfortable. And for me, it's just don't anticipate, participate, right?
Oh, come on. You are like spot on with these one-liners.
So giving the gift to the person, what is their reaction to be? It's really easy to amp it up and think it's going to be this big thing, or oh, they might not like this, and I'm really worried that they're going to be embarrassed of what I got them. But hey, having the confidence and the awareness of knowing them and who they are as people, and saying, okay, I think this is going to be a good decision. I'm going to get this from selflessly, and then just being there to relish in the enjoyment and the experience of it. Right, having no mindset of a great outcome or a poor outcome, but just living in the moment. I think that's important for us to remember and take away.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. How do you guys do that here at Petticoat?
Being aware in the expectations
of the people, like you said.
Yeah.
You said it's like we need to listen and we need to be like,
Yes.
and it's like, well, how do we know that Joe has these needs?
Yes.
With his kids, and just to be clear, Joe is fictional.
Yes.
But how do we know that? And it's like, you talk about listening and whatnot. Can you give me some examples of how here at Petticoat-Schmitt, you guys, this is the joy of the podcast. You don't know what I'm going to ask you, but how do you guys do that?
Man, one of the things I think we do a damn good job at is feedback sessions, right? And learning from our CEO and seeing what he does. So he's constantly getting feedback sessions in every group and every project team. With the estimating department, with the project managers, project engineers, in the field with the job. He feeds you and you feed him, feedback, right? Getting feedback. What are your true thoughts and what are you experiencing? So from an overall perspective, feedback is the best thing, right? It's the best thing since sliced bread. So how can we improve and get better? Well, you can't without feedback. So I think we do a really good job here at sharing feedback, not just on an annual basis during a performance review, or not just during a quarterly evaluation or whatever it might be, but constant feedback, right? In the moment, when it occurs.
It sounds very intentional. How are you intentional with that? Like, because it sounds like it's all
every
the time.
day. Yeah, every day. Shout outs, right? One of our favorite pastimes is shout outs. So every morning we've got a morning huddle at 7 a.m. with the field. And during that, we give shout outs. We praise our team members. What are some of the good things that somebody's done that in a selfless act? Give them, some recognition, and we do that constantly. And it's not just, forced, right?
Right.
And some people coming into the company and seeing it for the first time, it's like, oh my gosh, this is weird. But being in it, it's empowering, right? getting that recognition, right? Recognition feels good.
It does.
It's a stroke of the ego, right? It's as good as that feels, right? It really is, but it makes people feel heard, feel listened to, that they've got a voice. But also for the recipient, getting recognition and being made aware that they're doing a good job or doing something that is creating value or has a good outcome, they're going to do their job better.
Yeah. I agree.
Right, like for this ESOP, right? One of the best things ever has been ownership.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody has a piece of the pie here at this company, and now they have ownership in the equipment, the tools, all of our resources, and people are naturally taking better care of the equipment. And we're shouting out that Joe is doing a really good job taking care of his equipment, and now everybody else is going to follow suit and do it because, man, it feels good to.
The guy that's walking by on camera, that's Joe, by the way.
That's it feels good to
Yeah.
do the right thing, and we want to enforce the culture and create better culture, and so that's what we do to make it bring awareness.
I think that you've talked a lot about bringing awareness, and we've talked about personal life and work life, and I think that you can't bring awareness without intentionality.
Correct.
And
Yep.
I think that we don't realize how easy it is to not be intentional and kind of float through life.
Wow.
And it's like
Yeah.
you have to decide every day,
Yes.
I'm going to be intentional today.
Yes.
This is, and I think that is huge in being successful.
Mm-hmm.
I've talked with different people, and I've heard people say, especially like I love a lot of my friends, even from a young age, were much, much, much older than me.
Yeah.
Like 30 years older than me.
But the wisdom that they
Well, and I just I love sitting down and having a conversation with someone, and the reality is, people that have lived life, that wisdom that you talk about, and it was striking to me. Some people, I've talked with different people, and some are like, I feel like life just passed me by. And what I realized is they were very unintentional about life. And then there are other people that, man, they were what my grandfather would say, movers and shakers. And a mover and shaker doesn't mean that people know your name.
Mm-hmm.
But being a mover and shaker, the legacy that you leave is what people do with what you've invested in them with. Ryan's not here. He's not on the podcast, so I'll talk about him behind his back. But I would think that he's not focused on his legacy being his name being out there 100 years from now.
No.
But his investment in what the people that he's invested in were able to do with the fact that he invested in them.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's clearly what I see here. And so it's like, that's what legacy really truly is. That's what we need to be about. And that's where we'll really have a lasting effect for hundreds of years.
Yeah.
And it's not about them remembering your name or my name or even our companies.
Yeah.
But multiplying that positive impact throughout the workforce and throughout the industry, through how we raise awareness in that way.
Yes. And being very intentional about it.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And I think that's just, being intentional is taking a beat and looking at it and being like, all right, what am I doing and why am I doing it?
Yeah.
What am I doing and why am I? And that's another way that you really can check for ego, is when you're being intentional. It's like, okay, today, what am I doing and why am I doing it? And if it's like, well, what I'm doing just focuses on me and why I'm doing it is to get what I can get. That is what you put into the world is what you will get back out.
You reap what you sow.
You reap what you sow. I mean, the reality is those things carry weight and they're true.
Yeah.
And so it's like when you have that outlook, that's what's going to come back to you.
Yeah.
So, well, we're coming to that point in the podcast where I want to ask you a question. And I mean, this has been a great conversation. I think one of the greatest things that brings value, Charles, is when we share mistakes that we've made, things that we have done that we wish we would have known before we did it, or we could go back and redo it, or whatever you want to call that. But when we share them with other people, like for me as a young man, when some of the old timers that I was friends with would share that information with me, it gave me, one, it let me know that they actually cared and wanted to give value to me, that I could learn from things that they had done. And two, it made me want to then apply that in my life. So would you be willing to share with those who are listening and with me a mistake that you have made in your life, different from the one that you shared with me before?
Yeah.
That you feel like you've learned from that would be beneficial to others to hear?
Yeah, great question. I'm sitting here thinking the whole time that you're talking. I knew you were going to ask this question, listening to your podcast. I think one of the mistakes I made early on is thinking you know everything, right? You don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
And it's okay. And there's power with not knowing, and there's power in knowing. But being able to recognize that you don't know certain things, but ask for help and learn and grow is huge, right? I've heard a lot of people say, fake it till you make it, right?
Yeah.
That is a horrible way of living life, right?
Come on.
You're going to set yourself up for success for a very short period of time, but in the long run, right, you're going to come across a situation where you can't fake it anymore. And the reality is going to hit, and it's going to hit like a hammer, and it's going to suck.
Yeah.
But if you are conscious about the decisions you're making and realize that, hey, I don't know the answer to this, but I will find out, and I will be intentional about learning about this thing, whatever it might be, then the real success is gonna follow that. So the past mistake was just thinking I knew everything, right? Jumping into a job and thinking I knew the answer and I had to be the smartest guy in the room, but really, I don't want to be the smartest guy in the room. I want to be surrounded by the smart people that have the solutions and the answers, and I can learn from them. And learning early on, I thought, my mind was the smartest mind around, and it quickly hit me like a ton of bricks. And I wish that more people would almost look at themselves and say, there's a lot of wisdom in the room, and there's a lot of wisdom that I can learn from the older generation in the trades. How can that help me grow, and how can I have that also help the people around me? So I was very selfish in the beginning, and it hurts. And so today I stand here with a better feeling about myself, knowing that I'm making an impact, a positive impact, and it's because I said, hey, I'm okay not knowing. I'm gonna find out, and I'm gonna learn and do better, and try to mentor and train.
Can you share with us a story of when you were younger where you experienced that? I know I'm pushing a little bit here, but like, because I can think of, that is a man. I think from 22 to 35, I made that mistake every day, thinking that I knew everything and not knowing what I didn't know. Is there a time in your history that stands out to you that is like, well, there was this situation and I did this, and it's like, and that's why I know now that I didn't know what I didn't know?
Yeah. Man, I've got a few, and I've got one that always cracks me up every time I think about it. I just bust out laughing. Sorry for those that are on this podcast, but long ago when I was doing one of my very first projects, I was putting a building up and building a new water plant, and there was blown insulation in the ceiling, and I come to the job site, I think the day after it was blown, and it looked like it was Christmas outside. For those of you that are listening, and we're in Florida. It's 100 degrees right now, and there's no snow in Florida.
Yeah. If there is, we have bigger problems.
And I remember I came to the job site, and it is snowing. It is white Christmas on the plains of Florida inside this small water plant, and the question was asked, why is there insulation everywhere? And the dumbest thing I ever said was, oh, it's supposed to do that. It's supposed to do that. That's the excess that they probably blew on the ground or something. I had no idea. First off, it was a lie, right?
Yeah.
So why did I do that? Because I didn't know. I got nervous and I made something up to get out of the uncomfortable situation.
Oh, come on, there it is.
And looking back on it, I'm like, what the hell was I thinking?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. If I had just done the right thing, said, hey, I don't know, but you're right. This is a problem. Let me figure that out. And now, years down the road, I'm sitting back here thinking, all right, I'm not going to come across a situation where I know everything. Yeah. But I could tell you this, morally, I don't know, and I'm okay saying it.
Yeah.
And we'll figure it out together. But
there's power in that, man.
Yeah. Laughing at the younger me is just, what the hell was I thinking?
I'm glad I'm the one asking the questions because I have like 8 stories very similar to that, and stupid things that I have said. And you talk about this. It's like all because I was in an uncomfortable place and I wanted out as quickly as possible.
I just want to escape. I just want to get out.
Yeah. As quickly as possible. And it's like what experience is, what life has taught me is that being able to identify that in that moment and having enough, working the muscle that I have enough self-control to stop myself from continuing to talk when I just went out. I heard a guy say that he takes 48 hours whenever there's a big issue to deal with. He manages a company of more than like 500 people, multi-million-dollar company, multi-hundred-million-dollar company,
Big money.
And big money just means bigger bills.
Oh, yeah.
I learned that a long time ago. But he says, something comes up, I have learned to give it a beat. And I started to apply that in my life, and it was one of the greatest things, because when you're in the midst of what might look like a crisis, and let me just talk about how you triage a situation, and triage is when you look at something and you're trying to keep it alive. And so you need to do certain things where, if you're focusing on this and that's not helping to keep it alive, then don't focus on that.
Yeah.
So you need to triage the situation, whatever the problem or the issue is. But it's like, if it doesn't need to be handled in that moment, then don't.
Come back to it.
Because one of two things will happen. You'll come back to it with better prepared, you've thought about it, you'll have figured things out. And like you said, you could have said, hey, you know what, I don't know, but let me look, find out, and come back. The other thing that happens is when you give it a beat, when you give it a moment in that way, is that sometimes, actually for me this has happened most of the time, it resolves itself before I even get to come back to it.
Isn't that funny how it works out like that?
It is ridiculous how it works out.
In the number of times, right? It's not just 10% of the time. Most of the time,
yes,
those things will resolve themselves.
I would say it is flipped. It is 90% of the time they resolve themselves, and 10% of the time you have to then come back and deal with it.
Yeah.
And I wish that younger me could have figured that out, because then it would have been, I would have looked so less stupid.
Yes.
Like right. I would have, it's like, and you don't, what is it about being young and feeling like you need to look like you know it?
Yeah.
Like if there's anything, like, all right, so forgive me, I'm going to come down on you here a little bit.
Yeah.
Do you realize how stupid you looked when you're like, it's supposed to do that? Like they all looked at you like you're an idiot.
Oh yeah.
Like, I mean, and that's what we do. I mean, do you realize? Yes, you said you just laugh about it.
Yeah.
Because that's all that you can do is laugh about it. But the reality is, like, we come into those situations, if we would just wait, we end up looking smarter too.
Yes.
I mean, yeah. Oh, that feels good. It's raining.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. Much better.
Yeah.
I'm not cooking or baking on this chair anymore.
Yeah. Well, I really appreciate this conversation.
Yeah.
I think it's been great, and that feels really good. I'm sorry. That rain feels really good. We're sitting on black leather chairs in the heat of Jacksonville, Florida, 100 degrees. You guys are a little crazy down here. The Florida thing is real.
Yeah.
Like,
It really is, and the Florida man is real.
Yeah.
But baking on this and catching a tan, I've really enjoyed the conversation.
Me too.
It's been a long time in the making, and just so glad to bring awareness to Petticoat-Schmitt and the edge that we have in the industry, and the difference that we bring to heavy civil construction here in Florida and in southeastern United States. We're different, and we want to make an impact in everybody's lives in a positive way. Not just the team members here at Petticoat, but also in the community, right, inside, outside.
I work with a company. They say that they want to have a positive impact on everybody they come in contact with, and I think that's what you guys want to be about. And that is just, it's just awesome. And that's what we all should be doing in the trades.
Yeah, well said.
It should be about that. So, thank you for stepping up to the line and having this real and honest conversation. Where can people find out more about Petticoat-Schmitt? What's your website? Yeah,
www.petticoat-schmitt.com. Go online, check us out. Would love to connect, right? Even if it's just for a conversation. Also go on LinkedIn. We've got a ton of members on LinkedIn, myself included. Would love to connect and to communicate with anybody in the industry that is willing to reach out and wants to learn about us and the value that we can bring you and your team. Feel free to reach out. Would love to help out in any way we can.
Absolutely. Dude, thank you so much for your
Josh,
time.
thank you.
Greatly appreciate it, Charles.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Likewise.